Welcome back. I have enough keys now to finally start up doing Layla's Hangout event here. Act 1. Ever Silent Stars. Yes, of course. Begin. Now, where do we actually begin it, though? That's the question. The Academia. Oh, okay. Let's head on over, then.
Oh, we meet again.
Hello!
Sorry, but I don't really have time to chat right now.
Why? Are you going to visit Twirly Whirly?
Oh, come to think of it, I haven't seen Twirly Whirly in a long time. But no, now's not the time for that. I was originally looking up some information at the House of Dana, but the more I read, the more I realized that my thesis is horribly lacking.
Being long tortured by her own anxious thoughts, Layla's stress value shows her current mental state. This value will fluctuate as the story progresses. Appraise the situation carefully before making your choice. Okay.
I should have been done with the first draft of my thesis by now, but I've barely written a third.
Okay, so what are you planning to do now?
Well, I guess I have to keep looking up as much info as possible. I shouldn't give up now. But who am I kidding? Maybe I'm not cut out to be a researcher. Maybe I shouldn't have come to the academia in the first place. All I've done is cause trouble for my advisor and classmates. I should probably notify my advisor sooner than later, so he can focus his attention on the other students. No, I don't even have the guts to bring it up, and I haven't completely given up yet.
Well, you still have time, right?
To be honest, I haven't slept a wink for days. Just thinking about the awful state of my thesis keeps me up at night. Lack of sleep hinders my ability to focus, and if I can't focus, I can't do any proper research or thinking. I'm stuck in a vicious cycle. I've seen the caliber of the other academia students. They're all geniuses and fast learners. I'm nowhere near as gifted as they are.
Oh, you're being too harsh on yourself.
Oh, if it wasn't for someone who's been helping me out, my advisor probably would have kicked me out of the Darshan by now.
Is this someone? A good friend of yours?
No. All my friends are back home. I'm the only one who got to come study at the academia. This might sound strange, but I actually don't know who's been helping me. I don't even know if they're a person or not. Due to my lack of sleep, I sometimes get dizzy and faint when I'm stressed out.
Oh dear, it's that bad, huh?
Yeah, but oddly enough, when I wake up, all the things I was stressing over are taken care of.
Huh. So who's keeping an eye out for her then?
My homework's somehow finished before the deadline, and my papers are perfectly written. But that's not all. My flowers are watered, laundry's done, even my broken camera was fixed. I really don't know what's going on, but for now, I'm calling the phenomenon a blessing from the stars.
I will say I am getting a Puna situation with her voice where it's just making me just ever so sleepy. Like the voice work is so correct with the sleepiness, the drowsiness. that it's making my eyes start to droop. It's like, oh dear, I'm getting very tired.
Maybe the stars above decided to help out after seeing all the effort I put into my research. If that's even possible.
It could be possible. I mean, it sounds pretty extraordinary.
But there's no point in me studying at the academia if I keep relying on this mysterious phenomenon. It comes down to my own efforts, improving one step at a time. How else can I honor my parents and live up to the expectations of everyone who knows me?
That makes sense. The effort you put in is equally important.
Oh no, I've already spent too much time chatting. I still haven't made much headway on my thesis. At this rate, I'll need the Wisdom Seelie's help.
But you just said you wanted to rely on your own efforts.
Yes, but time's of the essence, so I have to take what I can get. Oh, sorry. I'm just making excuses. But the Wisdom Seelie is truly amazing and freely shares its endless knowledge. If you want its help, all you have to do is write down your question and you'll get a response a short while later.
Can Seenies even do something like that?
No one knows who or what it actually is. It's just known as the Wisdom Seelie. But getting an answer all comes down to the Seelie's mood. Sometimes it'll only give you a vague answer or play tricks on you. I'm pretty sure a researcher wouldn't do something like that. All I can do right now is hope that it helps me.
What about the blessing from the stars?
Who knows if it'll happen this time? I can't put all my eggs in one basket. Trying my luck with another phenomenon is better than doing nothing.
It sounds a little sketchy, but I'll go check it out with you.
Oh, really? But I don't want to take up your time.
It's fine. I don't have anything going on.
Sorry for the bother. You're too kind. Okay, let's go give it a try. I've already prepared my question for the Seelie. I just hope it can help me get through this predicament. Among the countless legends surrounding the House of Dana, the Wisdom Seelie is one of the more popular ones lately. It hasn't been around for long, but word of the Seelie's existence spread like wildfire. Many people have claimed that they've received a reply from it. So, it should probably help me as well, right?
So do you just call its name when it appears? Or is there some kind of summoning ritual?
Any funny antics in the House of Dana will get you escorted out. Or perhaps thrown out. Let's split up and ask around about the Seelie. Hopefully someone knows something more. Excuse me? Have you ever heard of the Wisdom Seelie?
You've come to the right person. I came across this legend not too long ago myself. After hearing about it, I decided to test it out and asked it a question about the brightness of the stars. 2 days later, I got a response. It included 2 pages of detailed and accurate information. It saved me from having to look up a ton of resources.
Really?
Yeah, so I submitted another question a few days ago. I still haven't received a reply, though.
That sounds like what others have said. But I don't have the time to wait for a reply if the Seelie doesn't answer right away. Whatever. Can you please tell me how to submit a question to the Wisdom Seelie?
It's quite simple. Go to the bookshelf over there and find either Theoretical Astrology or a quick reference guide to astrology cases.
Oh, I know where those are. My Darshan has us use those two books quite often.
Okay, so write your question in a letter addressed to the Wisdom Seelie, and then insert the letter into one of the books. Come back in a day or two, and if you see a red stamp on your letter, that means the Wisdom Seelie has replied. However, if the stamp never appears, then that means the Seelie doesn't want to answer your question.
I see. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go write down my question. Hopefully the Seelie replies.
Hopefully. Head over to the bookshelf Rabba mentioned.
No time to lose.
There's loads of time to lose. What are you on about? Time is money, friend. I do love the design of this library here, though. If you want to call it a library, would you call it a library? Like the archive? Anyway, let's get the book. Layla places her letter in the designated book.
Finally. I wrote out my question and put it in the book.
What do we do now?
Wait, I guess. Let's give it some time. I'll come back tomorrow to check on it. Don't worry about me if you have other things to do.
I'll come with you. I'm a little worried.
I see. Thanks. I appreciate it. Alright then, let's meet up here tomorrow. I really hope the Seelie replies.
I imagine it will. The next day, you and Layla return to the same bookshelf.
Time to look at the letter. Please let there be a stamp. Please let there be a stamp. There's a red stamp on it. The Seelie responded. Fantastic.
You look better already.
This is wonderful. My troubles are at an end. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am.
There was something really satisfying about that noise just then. That diddling.
Let's take a look at what it wrote. Thank you for your letter. Though I have extended a response, I cannot answer your query due to your questionable motives. Questionable motives? Me? Wait, huh? Okay, let's see. Completing a thesis requires independent thought and work. You planned on using my knowledge to complete your paper's most critical portions. That's not right. However, considering that your deadline is fast approaching, and that there is substance to the content in the completed sections of your thesis, I've decided to help you nonetheless. Follow the hints I've left, and you will find the answer to your question. Consider the effort you put into thinking and searching as your payment for my knowledge. What the... It's absolutely right about everything. Oh, I'm starting to feel guilty now. I can't deny any of it. But I'm running out of time. Oh, what should I do?
I've really felt that when another heart was filled there. It might be messing with you.
Good point. Why else would it use such a roundabout way to tell me its answer? Supposedly, everyone who's been pranked by the Seelie had angered it in some way. That means the Seelie is someone who's very strict and serious about knowledge. But who knows if it's really a Seelie or some person.
There's no guarantee that you'll actually get an answer, even after doing what it says.
True. And if I don't get an answer, then I'll only have wasted more time. Oh, but there's nothing else we can do. It's the one holding all the cards. It's completely hidden and can choose whether to help us or not. After all, it'd probably be impossible to find it and ask my question in person.
Now, that sounds like an idea.
Huh? I was just kidding. Oh, please don't take me seriously.
Too late.
It's a Seelie we're talking about. According to legend, Seelies are elusive and can create countless copies of themselves. Who's to say that it won't summon a shooting star to crush us once we find it?
You don't actually believe in those legends, do you? I mean, think about what you just said for a moment.
Sorry. I'm just a little panicky. Okay, Layla. Calm down and think. If the Seelie is a person, then there has to be a way to track them down. We have two possible leads right now. The first is the checkout logs of those two books, and the other is the red stamp. The red stamp bears the Retawahist emblem, which is used by a lot of people. It'll be hard to track down an individual, so we should probably start with the checkout logs.
Can't disagree with that logic.
Let's go and make an inquiry. We can also ask around the House of Dana and see if anyone else knows something about the Wisdom Seelie.
Ooh. Alright then, so who's closest?
Yeah.
I mean, you're closest, you're closest.
Hi there. Have you heard of the legend of the Wisdom Seelie?
Do I really look like the kind of student that would be interested in such a pointless legend?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were just curious.
Well, I do happen to have some information on it.
Then why didn't you just say so?
Huh? Logically, that has nothing to do with the question I asked. I just don't want others to see me as some poor excuse for a student whiling away my time in the House of Dana.
I don't really think bad students would come to the House of Dana to pass the time. But anyways, you were saying?
Well, I spend most of my time here, and I have noticed something odd before. One time, late at night, a black shadow fell from above and landed in the central area of the House of Dana. Of course, I was a little sleepy at the time, but it startled me, and I got up to see what was going on.
And then what happened?
Then, the shadow quickly circled behind me with incredible speed. Just as I tried to turn around to get a look at it, I fainted.
This shadow, it sounds pretty powerful.
Yes, it was unbelievably fast. I had never seen anything like it. It was so unusual that I wasn't sure if it was real or if I was half dreaming. But given how popular the legend of the Seelie has become lately, maybe this has something to do with it.
Don't take this the wrong way, but doesn't the House of Dana have a door?
It was closed that night. I suppose even the House of Dana needs to be closed for maintenance from time to time.
I see. That makes sense. But what were you doing here if the House of Dana was closed?
Don't look so surprised. It's a common practice to find a place to hide before they lock the doors, so you can continue reading books here. Everyone knows that.
Everyone. Good thing I'm not studying alongside you. I can tell you, you'd really stress me out, mate.
Anyway, thank you for the info. I'll be sure to take note of everything you mentioned.
You're welcome.
I do not like his attitude at all. Very much in agreement with that. It's like, yeah. He just screams stress.
Hi there. Do you know anything about the Wisdom Sealy?
Yes, of course. I've been looking into it for quite a while now. However, I feel like I'm still missing some key pieces of information. Hey, maybe if we put our heads together, we can figure something out.
Sure. I'll try my best.
There are a few known traits of the Wisdom Sealy. First, it's extremely strong. It can easily carry a few dozen books, along with 4 or 5 pieces of astrology equipment all at once. It's extremely athletic as well. It only moves in a straight line and doesn't stop for anything, not even walls or rivers. Lastly, it has a number of special abilities. It has a hardened metal body that's impervious to injury. It can freeze water into ice, and it can also summon meteors.
That doesn't even sound human.
Sounds like some hero out of a fairy tale.
Well, it is a legend after all. It's no surprise that some details seem a little exaggerated. But these aren't just made up, you know. Each of its abilities has been confirmed by eyewitnesses. There have been many sightings too, including at Chatrakam Cave, the Avidia Forest, and around the waterfall south of Sumeru City.
Has anyone seen what it actually looks like? Or what kind of person it is?
Not that I know of. No one's been able to get close to it. It seems like it tries to stay out of sight. I would probably want to remain a mystery too, if I were someone as legendary as the Wisdom Sealy. So what do you make of it? Have you seen it somewhere as well?
No. We're probably gonna need some time to digest all the, incredible information you've provided us.
Not a problem. But if you manage to find anything, be sure to come and tell me about it. I trust that you'll quickly discover the excitement of slowly unraveling the truth.
She was much better than Mr. Stress over there. Just ugh. Ugh.
Oh, hello there. Can I help you?
No. Good day.
Hello. I'm a Ratawahis student and would like to see the checkout logs for theoretical astrology and a quick reference guide to astrology cases.
Oh, are you also here to investigate the Ratawahist Wisdom Sealy legend?
Also? I suppose it makes sense that we're not the only ones investigating such a popular legend.
Yes, I myself am also quite curious about it, but unfortunately I haven't found anything out of the ordinary. Given you're a Ratawahist student, I'm sure you know that a lot of research references these 2 books. All our copies of these particular titles are frequently checked out. I have looked into it, but found no irregularities in the checkout logs.
Is there any chance the Sealy could have taken the books out and returned them without being noticed?
Not likely. That would be almost impossible. The House of Dana is extremely strict about the circulation of its books. There will always be a record if a book is checked out. And even if it managed to figure out a way to take the books without leaving any record, it's possible that someone would come looking to borrow the books before the Sealy returned them. If someone discovers that a book is missing or that it doesn't match my inventory records, it would come to my attention immediately. However, it might be possible to pull off in the case of a less popular book.
Okay, I understand now, thank you. This is useful to know. With any luck, it'll help us work out the Sealy's identity. Okay, everyone's given us a lot of useful information. Let's go through it and try to organize everything. Some things we heard were pretty straightforward, but others were just, ridiculous.
I will say as well, like, this lamp here is lovely. I'd love a lamp like that. It's the colours, especially. That sort of like blue into green gradient that it's got going on. Very, very nice. We should be able to figure out more about its identity and whereabouts.
Yeah. Let me think and see what I can make of it. Okay, calm down, Layla. I know the info's all over the place, but you can definitely do it. First, let's try to figure out the Sealy's identity based on the clues we currently have. Then, we'll analyze where it's been sighted and its motives. Finally, we'll piece everything together. From there, we should be able to predict its movement. Alright, let's give it a try.
Okay, so let's have a look here.
Book circulation is strictly regulated, and there's a log of anyone who checks out a book.
Okay.
The stamp. Which probably means they're a Ratawa student.
I mean, that's just want to do the interprets first.
It once infiltrated the House of Dana while it was closed. I think I heard somewhere that it has a lot of ridiculous abilities. It's been to the Chatrakam Cave, the Avidia Forest, and the waterfall south of Sumeru City.
Okay, to me it would make sense to associate the true identity with the location. Well, that seemed to open up the behavioral logic, so let's choose that.
Okay, I think I've got it now.
So, what have you come up with?
First, based on the information Katayun provided, we can assume that the Sealy is a student from the Ratawahis Darshan. The possibility of it being someone outside the Darshan can be ruled out because it'd be impossible to gain access to those two books without going through the librarian. Next, leaving its crazy abilities aside, all the sightings took place in locations that are officially recommended for astrology observation by the academia. In other words, it's probably just conducting research, and the nature of its research is very similar to mine. The question that I submitted was no simple query, but it was able to give me a reply in just a day. This implies that it's familiar with a similar field of knowledge. So based on this reasoning, all we have to do is wait for it at the next astrological observation site.
Look at you! Finishing your thesis should be no problem at all.
It's nothing, really. There are actually some other factors that I've been speculating about. But that's not important right now. Let's get going. Even though we have a lead, it's still hard to say whether we'll be able to make any discoveries. I'll tell you what I mean by that if the Sealy doesn't show up.
Doesn't.
No time to lose.
Alright, and so combining the clues, the truth behind it. Where are we actually going here anyway? All the way over there. Righto, let's use the waypoint. Look at that view. Look at it. It's amazing. Like, look at that. It's gorgeous. gorgeous. Yeah, so we've got to climb up then.
Yep. Yeah.
The weather today is perfect for observation. Let's see if it shows up. Honestly, spending an entire night waiting for something that we're not sure is gonna happen might not be the best use of our time. But we don't really have any choice. This is all we've got. Get some sleep if you're tired. I'll be up. It's not like I could sleep anyways.
Well, I'll stay up with you.
Thanks. Oh, how about I share some basics about astrology with you? If you're interested, that is.
There's a pair of eyes in that bush over there. Like below the green blob thing, there's that bush. It's got a pair of eyes.
Sure enough, it didn't show up. We hardly saw any animals, let alone people. No matter how conclusive the evidence is or how perfect our reasoning may be, nothing will happen as long as I'm awake.
Are you referring to the wisdom sealy? Or the blessing from the stars?
They're probably one and the same. It's like I told you, I have a severe sleeping disorder, and there have been a lot of rumors about me sleepwalking. I tried to understand what I had been doing when I'm unconscious, but I've never been able to get any definitive evidence. Something is actively attempting to cover up all the clues without my knowing. Maybe that something is me. Or maybe it isn't. I can't be sure. For all I know, I could even be the Sealy. But what if I am? Would the Sealy be willing to help me this time? What is it actually thinking? I really have no idea.
What if I could help you?
Huh? You want to help me? Of course it would be nice to know what's really going on. But that's impossible. It's always avoiding me and keeping me in the dark. And that won't change even if you're around.
Seeing how badly she wants to know, maybe we should find a way to ask the other Layla about it.
Huh? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Maybe there really isn't anything we can do. Seems like we've come up empty-handed again this time.
Yeah. And to think I could have been working on my thesis this whole time. My stomach is churning just thinking about it.
There's nothing else I can do. I'm sorry.
Please stop. The more you talk about it, the more silly I feel. Oh, come on, Layla. What are you doing? Everyone's gonna start thinking you're crazy now. Oh no. I'm losing it. So dizzy.
I'm sorry to have to make you feel so uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted there. Where were we?
Seems like she completely recovered. Huh. Does that mean...
Oh, what's wrong? You look like you've got something on your mind.
Are you... the other Layla?
What are you talking about? What do you mean the other Layla? I am Layla.
But you somehow seem a little different.
appears that you were waiting for me to show up. I suppose there's no use in me pretending. I promise I don't mean any harm and I'll answer all your questions. But before that, would you mind telling me who you are first?
I'm a friend of Layla's. I'm trying to help her finish her thesis.
Let me think. Okay, I got it. You two found this place by following the hints that I left behind. You were planning to wait for me. Or I should say you were waiting for the Seelie to show up. Was this your idea or hers?
Mostly hers.
I see. Yes, she's always had great analytical skills. It'd be nice if she was more confident, though. All right, that's all the questions I have. Your turn. Please ask away.
So you're the other Layla, who could have potentially been a Seelie. So essentially what we're saying is here you could have been the other Seelie. For those following along with Honkai, I'm looking at you with a questioning glance being like, huh. Huh. You're the Seelie, aren't you? That feels like the right one.
That's right. Though I didn't intend for it to turn out this way, really. I just wanted to help out a few other classmates who were having a hard time while I was helping Layla finish her thesis. You see, Layla doesn't have many friends at the academia. If the others noticed her helping them out, I thought maybe I'd help her become more sociable. Unfortunately, that didn't really work out. Instead, legends of the Seelie started going around. But that's alright.
What's with the Seelie pranking people? Did you infiltrate the house of Dana? And what about those rumors of special powers?
Infiltrating the House of Dana was a total accident. She'd forgotten an important book, and the House of Dana happened to be closed at the time. There were only days before the paper was due. I had no choice but to scale the walls with some simple climbing ropes and sneak in from above while the Core 30 wasn't paying attention. I had no idea there was still a student inside. I had no choice but to put him to sleep. Any clear evidence of my existence would only hinder my ability to conceal my identity. It would also expose me to Layla as well. As for the special powers, well, they're just things I did during the process of trying to finish the thesis. It's like I said, I don't have much time, so I need to be as efficient as possible.
What's with the Seelie pranking people?
I can instantly tell which students are asking serious questions and which are just trying to take advantage of me to slack off. My time to move freely is quite limited, so it's only natural that I would punish the people attempting to waste my time. My intention is to help people. I'm not here to cause any harm. Well then, does that answer all your questions?
Actually, I have one last question. Why don't you want her to know you exist?
You see, her emotions are incredibly unstable. She's constantly doubting herself. If she knew that there's another Layla who is capable of doing everything, she may think even less of herself. She could think, maybe I should just leave it all to her. I'm always relying on her anyway. Why not let her live my life for me? She might start thinking about giving up completely, and that's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do for her. After all, she and I are one and the same. We're two sides of the same coin. No one knows her greatest strength more than I do. It's her resilience. If she's able to persevere in everything she does, then one day she won't need my help anymore. I trust that she's capable of doing that, and it's something that she should do on her own.
I see. Lee.
She actually discovered the key data she needs for her thesis a long time ago. She just didn't organize it well enough. I'll complete her thesis for her just as I have in the past. Oh, please don't share any of this with her. I would like to keep this a secret for both of our sakes.
I understand.
Thank you for doing this for me. No, for us. She seems to be waking up now. Well, this is goodbye. If we never meet again, then I guess I did something right. Huh? Did I faint? Or did I fall asleep?
Oh no, you're fine. You just had a little nap.
Oh, I see. Was I sleepwalking? I was, wasn't I?
Nah, not really.
Really? I don't believe you. You're hiding something from me. It's written all over your face.
No, me? Hide something? No.
You said you were gonna help me, didn't you? Why are you holding out on me now? Please tell me. You promised you'd help.
Oh. Alright then. That which remains unspoken. To keep a promise made to her means the breaking of a promise made to her. This is a tricky situation indeed. And yeah, again, just getting Sealy vibes from Honkai there. Also, what's going on with this bush? Why does this bush have eyes? So, now let's see then. What we want to do here with you, because we need to obviously go back to a certain point. Okay. So, back to that point is one of them. Alright then, let's head on over to see what we do in dislocated dialogue to put us on this path. Okay, so let's try this option here. Previously we went with it might be messing with you. And now we know what's really going on. Let's actually go with I'll search for the answer with you.
Huh? I could tell you're a very kind person, but I never expected that you'd go this far to help me. I'll definitely think of a way to make it up to you once I take care of my thesis.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's start by looking at the hint it left us. It should be on the second page. The first clue lies hidden on the road of wisdom. The headstrong child finally sees the world for how big it truly is, filled with awe, yet struck with fear. That's it? Not even a picture or any other marking to go off of. This is pretty abstract. What's this road of wisdom and who's the child?
Wisdom is probably referring to the academia.
Possibly. That sounds like a natural conclusion. So, is the road of wisdom the road that leads to the academia then? Wait, I think I get what it means by the child and awe and fear. When I first left home, it took me days to reach Sumeru City. I was completely shocked when I first saw it with my own eyes. It was so grand and awe-inspiring. Pictures of the city simply don't do it any justice. After seeing the city, a thought popped into my head. Am I really worthy of this place?
And that's the fear.
Worry, fear, or whatever you want to call it. If I'm connecting the dots correctly, then I think I know where the Sealy is leading us. But how does it know my feelings so well?
Now, there might be a reason for that. Maybe it wasn't referring to you specifically.
have a point. There's nothing special about my background or experiences. It could be anyone's. Anyway, let's go take a look.
Let's. Again, it's just got that look on my face of suspicion and intrigue.
Oh, we should be close. This is the way I came when I first traveled to Sumeru City. Aw, it's been way too long since I last visited home. No, this isn't the time for that kind of talk. We have to hurry and find the clues that the Seelie left behind.
It's a pretty big area. Now, it may not be related in any way to Seelie's story at all. I'm just looking for sort of like any clues, any thoughts, any ideas that could have some connection, some intrigue, some insight, anything. There may be nothing, and most likely will be nothing, but I'm just on high alert sort of thing. It's a pretty big area.
It is. Relying solely on what the Seelie said might not be viable. Assuming the Seelie is intentionally linking the clues to my past, I think I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
So this is a little embarrassing. At that time, the sight of Sumeru City was absolutely mesmerizing. I was anxious, but also excited about all the things to come. I was distracted and accidentally stepped on an Avidia leopard's tail.
Ooh, the price of being distracted.
I didn't notice it at all. The poor thing was sound asleep, and after I stepped on its tail, it bolted straight up. I freaked out and ran as fast as I could. There were actually more Avidia leopards sleeping nearby, and they were all faster than me. I almost got bitten a couple of times. Good thing someone from the Eremites heard me shouting for help. They managed to scare off the leopards.
That's a good thing you weren't hurt.
Yeah, but when I finally managed to calm myself down, I noticed that the talisman my mother had made for me was missing. It's extremely precious to me. Ever since I was little, I would always carry it with me whenever I'm doing something important. I also had it with me when the academia conducted its selection exam at my village. I checked my bag at least a dozen times to make sure the talisman was in there. I feel much more at ease knowing that I have it with me. I had thought that it would also help me calm my nerves in Sumeru City, but I ended up losing it before I even finished registration at the academia.
I can sympathize with your feeling of loss.
Yeah, and that's when I started having sleeping problems. I just began to sleep less and less each day. Losing a talisman like that is definitely a bad omen. Oh, sorry. I am starting to ramble again. What were we talking about before? Right. Why the Seelie led us here. I think we should look around where the Avidia leopards attacked me. If the Seelie is trying to make me remember things that happened in the past, it would make the most sense for it to hide clues in memorable locations. Hope the Seelie's clue wasn't also torn to shreds by Avidia leopards.
Let's look around first and relax. No need to be so pessimistic all the time.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's a bad habit of mine.
That did feel a bit harsh to say, though.
I suppose any progress is a step in the right direction. Let's go.
Let's go. Down there. Look for clues the wisdom Seelie left behind.
Oh, we should be close.
Where we look? Oh, hello. Well. Huh.
Sure enough, it's here. And in a really obvious place. That pretty much confirms my hunch about the Seelie's intentions.
Seems like the Seelie knows you really well.
I don't know. But how did it know about all these details? I've hardly told anyone about this stuff. It's not hiding somewhere and spying on me, is it? Oh, that's a scary thought. Anyway, let's look at the clue we found. Seems like you haven't forgotten about your very first failure. See? It knows everything.
Yes, it does. This might be too much, even for the wisdom Seelie.
I have no idea what's going on. No wonder the Seelie is becoming legendary. Let's keep reading the clue. I've placed the second clue where heaven meets water. The answer, seemingly amongst the stars, was ultimately washed to some unremarkable place downstream. Just as I thought. It's something to do with me again.
You already got the meaning?
If the first clue was any indication, then the location described in this clue should also be related to my life experiences. Most Ratawa's research is related to studying the stars. My own thesis work often requires me to go in the field and collect astrological data. And, let's just say there's another devastating and unforgettable failure I had.
Oh. Should we still keep following these clues?
But that can't be helped, right? We do many things not because we want to, but because we have to. Let's keep moving. It might be hard to believe, but being out and about is making me feel a lot better than usual.
It is? Okay. So go to the next place mentioned in the letter, which is over there. Why are the shrooms still there? Huh.
We're here. That's the spot. That's where I performed my first field observation after enrolling at the academia. I borrowed some equipment from the school and came here on a perfectly clear day. Everything was ready to go and I was positive that I'd be able to get some great data. But the equipment was a little heavy and I didn't notice that the ground was muddy and some spots were unstable. After I finished setting up everything, part of the ground suddenly shifted and my equipment started teetering over. I rushed over to grab hold of it, but I ended up tripping over another piece of equipment. The next thing I knew, everything was covered with muddy water. Me and all my equipment. You must be wondering how someone can be so clumsy.
Oh, not really. We're all prone to mistakes when we aren't well rested.
Thank you for understanding. If I were the one complaining about not being well rested, it would just sound like an excuse. It's a vicious cycle. The less I sleep, the more mistakes I make. The more mistakes I make, the harder it is for me to sleep.
So what happened afterwards? Were you injured?
I just got a minor fracture, so I had to rest at Marston for a while. To pay off the damages to the equipment, I took some part-time jobs. I just went to work whenever I couldn't sleep. It took me forever to pay off what I owed.
Don't tell me. Your insomnia got worse after that?
Bingo. The pressure from my studies and debt was crushing me, and I didn't want to tell my family about any of it. After all, I am the legendary Layla who made it into the academia at a young age. And had never failed an assignment in her life.
Did you ever consider taking a break?
Of course. I've even considered giving up on my studies completely and returning home to help care for the Sumter beast, but that would be kind of embarrassing. I don't mean that I'd be embarrassed in front of others. I mean that I'd be ashamed of myself. After all, everything I've done up till now is only a result of my own decisions. Although, it hasn't always been smooth sailing, and sometimes things don't go my way. I made it this far on my own. There haven't been any major incidents with my studies, and I even managed to pay off the equipment damages. But I guess I'm exaggerating a bit. Most of it is still due to the help of some unknown person rather than my own work.
Your parents would feel bad if they knew what you were going through.
And that's exactly why they mustn't ever find out. Once I finally manage to acclimate to life in Sumeru City, I'll show them my success. I hope that day will come eventually. Anyways, let's continue looking for the next clue. It should be around here somewhere. An unremarkable place downstream was the description.
Unremarkable.
That place downstream could be...
There we go.
Here, it's over here. Good thing it's dry. I was worried the message might be wet. Let's see. Have you found it? The unremarkable place downstream.
If not, this message is very strange.
Well, of course. How else could I be reading this message? Seriously.
Thank you. That was entirely my logic.
I've placed the third hint at a crossroad without a cross. You can turn left or right, but turning back shouldn't be an option.
Feels like the clues are getting more and more vague.
They're actually getting clearer for me. I was sort of expecting this even before I read the message. I don't know if the clues are following a timeline or if they're based on the amount of regret I have. Either way, this incident was bound to come up sooner or later.
Sounds like this is getting personal.
Would someone really go to all this trouble just to pull off some prank? I can't make heads or tails of it. Anyway, just follow me. I'll save the story for when we get there.
So where now? Okay. Nope. That. Thank you very much. I do enjoy those.
This is the place that immediately came to mind when the hint mentioned a crossroad. I came here to conduct some astrological observation once. Everything went smoothly on the way, and I thought I was starting to get used to life at the academia. But just as I was about to set up the observation equipment, I heard a strange sound coming from nearby. I made my way here and discovered a bunch of bandits robbing someone. They were a group of treasure hoarders, and the family that was being mugged looked completely helpless. They definitely wouldn't have been able to escape, and simply handing over their mora might not have been enough to make the bandits go away.
So you wanted to help but couldn't?
Not exactly. I already had a vision by that time. Someone with a vision should technically be really powerful, right? Handling a group of treasure hoarders should be well within my abilities. However, I didn't know how to channel the power of the elements to fight at that time, and I was super scared. I wielded immense power, but I didn't feel any stronger than just an ordinary person.
Then what happened?
Then I ran away. I scrambled towards Sumeru City looking for help. Eventually, I managed to return with a few adventurers I ran into along the way. It took longer than I had hoped, and by the time we made it back here, the treasure hoarders and the family were gone. I don't know if the family only lost their belongings in the end, or if something worse happened to them. I faced a lot of problems after coming to Sumeru City, but this incident is one that I regret the most. I sat on the ground and began to cry. I could have stepped in to help that family. Would it have ended differently if I were just a little braver?
You did the right thing.
Oh, thank you for trying to comfort me, but I can't stop myself from thinking that way. It's just as the silly said. Turning back shouldn't be an option. However, I can't help but think about running away whenever I'm faced with a challenge.
The Seelie probably wants to do more than just criticize you for the past. Why don't you try facing your challenge head on?
You're right. The more challenging it gets, the harder I should try. I'm feeling calmer now. Okay. Let's go look for more leads nearby. We're probably getting close now. Let's search this area.
Aha!
Here it is, just as I thought. The Seelie must have placed it here in advance. Let's see what we have this time. Whatever it is, I'm ready.
It's a house?
Huh? It's a picture?
So not a riddle this time.
Guess not. This house looks like it's in Vimara Village. Does the Seelie want us to go there?
Maybe some sort of trap is waiting for us. But it might be the last stop in our search.
I can't think of any connection I have with Vimara Village, though. I've only been there once, and it was pretty uneventful. Whatever the case, the only way we'll know is if we go there.
Just be sure to not push yourself too hard.
thanks, but I'm fine. I'm used to pushing my limits. I know how far I can go.
Okay, go to the place shown in the picture. Is it just further down? Yes. Let's float down. Just deciding how to get there quickly. Might have just saved us about 2-3 seconds, I think. If that.
Let's see. This should be the place. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Maybe the Sealy didn't prepare anything for us this time. Or does it want us to knock on the door first? If we're wrong about this, it'll be super awkward.
Layla.
You're right. I can't always be like this. Sometimes it's better to take action than overthink every little thing. Hello? Is anyone home?
Coming! Just a moment. Oh, it's you, Layla. How nice of you to stop by again.
Huh? Do you know me?
That's no way to greet a friend. Of course I know you. Is this a friend of yours? Or perhaps a classmate?
A friend. I'm having a little trouble with my thesis and we happened to be passing by.
What's going on, Layla?
I don't know either. I don't even know where to begin.
Oh, we have some idea, don't we?
I recognized him immediately. He's one of the people that was getting robbed by the treasure hoarders. But he shouldn't know anything about me. He shouldn't even know who I am.
You said you've been to Vimara village once.
Yeah, but that was before the robbery. I was just passing through. Even if he saw me, he wouldn't know who I am. He didn't notice me during the robbery.
Is something the matter?
I appreciate your kindness, but I really can't remember how we met. I'm sorry.
So you aren't joking? Do you still remember when my family and I were being robbed by a gang of treasure hoarders?
Yes, but I don't think I was of much help to you all.
How so? You told us everything yourself the last time we met. My family and I were surrounded by treasure hoarders, and I didn't know what to do. But then, we heard people approaching in the distance. Those treasure hoarders were the first to hear them coming and started to flee the moment they sensed the situation wasn't going their way. They didn't even bother taking anything with them. I wasn't sure what had happened, but the treasure hoarders were scared off. I immediately grabbed my wife and child and got out of there.
Oh, I see. I'm so glad that you and your family were unharmed.
I thought it was a party of adventurers that happened to pass by, but later you told me that you had spotted us and ran to find help. You were amazing. You managed to keep a level head even in the midst of danger. I know you have a vision, so those treasure hoarders wouldn't have been a match for you. But they might have harmed me and my family if their backs were pushed against the wall.
Wait, that's not exactly what happened. I still regret not helping out sooner. Anyway, when did I come here last? I don't seem to remember.
It's been some time, but not too long ago. I don't recall exactly when. What's wrong? Nothing's coming to mind?
Nope. I'm sorry. I still can't seem to remember even after everything you've told me. Maybe I'm just under too much pressure.
You came over and ate with us, and you played games with my son. If only we had taken a picture. Oh, you forgot a package here from that visit. You'll definitely remember once you see it. Wait here, I'll go fetch it.
A package? I left a package here? Wait! This is it!
There we go.
This is the talisman that I lost, the one that my mother made for me.
What the? Is it really the same one you lost?
Yes, this is definitely it. She made it herself. It's the only one of its kind. There's also a letter here. Was I planning to send it to someone? Let's see who the recipient is. To Layla?
I'm assuming you aren't in the habit of writing letters to yourself.
No. I swear I've never done anything like that. What is going on? Let's open it and see what this is all about. Hello, Layla. It must have been quite the endeavor to follow the Sealy's hints all the way here. Great work. Self-reflection is a wonderful quality to possess, but you'll only end up hurting yourself if you overdo it. Failure is a stranger to no one. The purpose of self-reflection is not to indulge in the pain of failure, but to succeed in your next attempt. If you're reading this letter, then you have succeeded in taking the first step. On the back of this letter is the core information that your thesis is lacking. It's actually been done for a while now. It only feels inconclusive because it's missing a concise summary to tie it all together. I hope that this journey has provided insight for your life ahead. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you courage as you carry onward and hope that you fulfill the expectations you hold. Always watching over you. Sincerely, the Wisdom Sealy. Oh. I thought we were going to fail. I thought that everything we did and all the time we spent was for nothing. But the Sealy wasn't messing with me after all.
Could it be that the Wisdom Sealy is you?
I doubt it. I mean, unless I somehow came here while I was unconscious and don't remember it. Although, having said that, I have heard rumors claiming that I sleepwalk a lot. But even then, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm actually the Wisdom Sealy. It could have just helped me while I was sleepwalking.
Either way, it's safe to say that it's related to the blessing from the stars.
I'll write back and ask to meet with the Sealy and see how it responds. Even though I still have a lot of questions, this experience was fruitful enough. If it wasn't for your encouragement, I probably would have quit halfway through and holed up in the academia somewhere. Perseverance really does pay off.
I'm not sure if I understand what has happened, but it's something good, right?
Yes, it's something really, really good, and I'm very thankful for it.
Well then, since you're already here, why don't you stay and have something to eat? We just finished preparing some food. Come on, don't be a stranger. Your friend should join us as well. You can leave your troubles until after the meal. You must relax and gather your strength so you can take on the challenges ahead, am I right?
He's right.
Alright, thank you all. I can do this.
Oh, there we go. The price to pay in its returns. I wish you courage as you carry onward, and hope that you fulfill the expectations you hold. Cool. Right, so let's see what we need to change up next. Alright, so drowsy evening star, we got to there. Aha. So, let's go back to the road to failure and see what we need to change. Okay then, let's change this option here from the Seelie probably wants to do more than just criticize you for the past and change it to let's take a break from searching and rest for a bit.
But what about my thesis? We still haven't found the Seelie's answer yet.
Your health is more important than your thesis.
Sorry for causing you so much trouble.
Let's find some place to rest.
Alright, I actually don't have much stamina. I've been stressed this whole time and I feel exhausted. I'm really sorry.
Okay, so that direction instead, alright. Got to be careful of that boar there. Ooh, he's probably coming at me then, he really was. This is quite far. Like for saying we're just finding some place to rest.
Let's stop here. I don't think I can walk any further.
I'll prepare some food and juice.
Alright, I'm gonna give my legs a rest. I'll be waiting for you here. I feel bad for making you go through so much trouble for me. Oh, if only I were more capable.
No, you shouldn't say that. We're all skilled at different things.
I'm sorry. I always find myself having to apologize. But enough of that. I need to pull myself together. The memories I've been reminded of are all really taxing. I cannot just give up this time, even if my head's not in a good place. Letting these heavy feelings get the best of me will only slow us down. Watch out! Behind you!
What's wrong?
Monsters! A lot of them too. Why didn't we see them coming?
Just leave it to me. It'll only take a moment.
No, I'll fight too.
But you need to rest.
But I want to help. I can't just sit back and watch you while you fight. Don't worry, I can handle myself. I mustn't keep repeating my past regrets. That's the most valuable lesson I've learned today. I should take action when I'm needed and give it my all when the moment calls. If you miss those opportunities in life, you may never get another chance to make up for them. I suppose that's fate.
I see. The choice of Steins Gate.
Alright, let's take them all down. My guiding stars!
We're really going into a strange location right now. Can I actually get out of here? I can. Yay for the short height.
Adventure time! Everybody stand!
Stars, shine for me.
Time Tidal wave.
Yeah, oh, I was gonna say, was that it? But no.
Eyes on
Clearly.
me!
You can run, but you can't hide. Ta, ta.
I knew there was gonna be more. I'd take it a bit more serious, but okay.
Bring it on. Riptide.
Shadow Raven, let night fall! I really need to keep up with my training. It's embarrassing to be out of breath so quickly like this.
Are you alright? You look pale.
Well, the only appropriate response would be to say that I'm fine, right? I'm pale due to lack of sleep, not because of the fight. But then again, I know you'd be able to see right through those words. I'm feeling weak. There's no hiding it. I'm just happy I didn't get in your way during the fight.
You did great.
Oh, thanks for the compliment. I sure don't get to hear that often. Although I may not be physically strong, my will is as resilient as they come. I'll be fine after I rest for a bit. Can you stay with me while I recover my energy? It shouldn't take long.
Oh. Look at the concern on his face, just like, oh dear, once bitten, twice shyly. Despite her incredibly weak disposition, she still chose to make a stand. Perhaps she wanted to prove a point, or perhaps she didn't want to leave regrets. Oh my. Alright, let's see where we are with the endings then. Because we've got 3 of 6, so I'm thinking this might be a good place to end this part, and in the next part we'll do the other 3, because we've got to go way back at this point, haven't we? You gotta think, like, nothing comes off of these ones, so it's sort of like, yeah, we need to go all the way back to the start with Drowsy Evening Star, so we can head off down this path, which will lead to the other 3 endings. So we'll see you in the next part then. Ta-ra for now.